Welcome to Everything Economics. We study microeconomics, macroeconomics, and every other type of economics. Welcome back. So today we are going to study about elasticity and its application. So this chapter will be divided into several parts because it's a very important chapter. So let's start it. So what is elasticity? This concept is directly linked to demand. So before this, we studied demand and supply. So when we are talking about elasticities, we are talking about the elasticities of demand and elasticities of supply. So in the chapter of demand, we studied that as there are several factors which have an impact on quantity demanded, right? So one of the factors is price. As the price level increases, the demand decreases, and as the price level decreases, the demand increases. But the concept of elasticities tells us how much the demand changes, how much the demand increases or decreases. That's the important concept that we will try to understand here. So for example, if the price increases by 100% of a good, so let's assume that we are talking about an apple, and the price of apple is 10 and it is increased to 20. That's 100% price increase. How much will it have an impact on the quantity demanded? How much will it impact, how much quantity demanded will decrease? So that's what we are trying to find. This is a very important concept in businesses as well, as the sellers are trying to find out how much their demand will increase or decrease as they change the price level. So first, the definition: elasticity is a measure of a variable's sensitivity to a change in another variable. So here we have demand, and demand is there are several factors which have an impact on demand. So we have price level, we have income of a consumer, we have price of substitutes or complements. These things have an impact on demand. So the elasticity measures how much of an impact these things will have on quantity demanded. We will literally find out the impact that these changes will have on quantity demanded. So that's what elasticity is. It's a measure of variable sensitivity to a change in another variable. So if we have a variable called x1, how much will it have an impact on y? Here I'm talking about the equation which we normally have: y is equal to x1 plus x2 plus, and this goes on. So x1 has an impact on y, and x2 also has an impact on y. So we just try to find out how much of an impact x1 and x2 have on y variable. Alright, so next we have in business and economics, elasticity refers to the degree to which individuals, consumers or producers change their demand or the amount supplied in response to price or income changes. It's the same thing. It's the same concept that we were talking about before. So elasticity simply refers to the degree to how much the demand will change in response to change in consumers' income, for instance, or the price level. So that's it's all the same thing that I talked about before. And it is predominantly used to assess the change in consumer demand as a result of a change in good or services price. So although we will be studying about changes in price level which will have an impact on the demand, we will also talk about how much a change in income will have an impact on quantity demanded of a certain good. But predominantly in economics, mostly when we are talking about elasticities, we are talking about elasticity of price. That is, how much demand will change due to a change in the price level. So that is the predominant use of elasticity in economics. Alright, so let's move on. Let's have a scenario. So here we have a pencil. The price of pencil is 5 rupees. If price of pencil is increased to 6 rupees, would you still purchase it? It's just a scenario. Just think in your mind, if the price of pencil is increased from 5 to 6, will you still purchase it? If price of pencil is increased to 7 rupees, would you still purchase it? That's another question. Just think about it in your mind again. If your answers are yes, then price of pencil may be inelastic. So here we have two words. We have elastic and inelastic. So if you would still purchase the pencil for 6 rupees or 7 rupees, then the price change, a small price change of a pencil does not really have an impact on its demand. So the demand is inelastic. It's not elastic, it's inelastic. So a change in price from 5 to 6 means a 20% increase in the price level. But the demand, this is price level, but the demand will not decrease by that much amount. So the demand might increase by 5%. If most of the people will still purchase the pencil for 6 rupees, then the demand decrease would not reach 20%, but would be 5% or maybe 10%. So here we are talking about percentages. So in this case, the demand of pencil would be inelastic if the price is changed from 5 to 6. But if the price is changed from 5 to 7, this is a 40% increase. The demand would still not decrease by 40%, but maybe by 20%. Still, it's inelastic. So this is the concept behind elasticities, and we will further talk about these concepts in the following slides. So here we talked about change in demand due to change in price, but we will also cover change in demand due to change in income and also change in price of alternative goods. This is just other concepts that we will talk about here. In the case of pencil, we talked about how much the demand will change due to a change in price of a pencil. But we will also talk about change in consumer income and change in price of alternative goods, how much those factors impact the quantity demanded. Alright, so another scenario, you design websites for local businesses. You charge $200 per website and currently sell 12 websites per month. Your costs are rising, including the opportunity cost of your time. So you are thinking of raising the price to $250. Your price was $200 first, but now you are thinking about increasing it to $250. The law of demand says that you won't sell as many websites if you raise your price. How many of your websites? How much will your revenue fall, or might it increase? So these are the important questions that the seller is concerned about, and this is what we will find out in elasticities. So the price has increased from 200 to 250. Previously he was selling 12 websites per month, but now will he be able to sell 12? Unlikely. Law of demand says that it will decrease. Will he be able to sell 11? How much revenue will increase or decrease? This is all that we are concerned about in elasticities. This is what we will talk about in elasticities in this chapter. Alright, so the basic idea is elasticity measures how much one variable responds to changes in another variable. As I talked about this before, there are several factors which have an impact on demand. So if one factor changes, if the price level, for example, changes, how much demand will change due to that one factor? That's the basic idea of elasticity. One type of elasticity measures how much demand for pencils will fall if price of pencils is changed. This is just an example that we discussed before. So the one type is the change in price of the product. The other types are change in income of consumers or alternative goods. And finally, we have the definition of elasticity. Elasticity is a numerical measure of the responsiveness of quantity demanded or quantity supplied to one of its determinants. So we have determinants of demand and determinants of supply, which simply means that those are the factors which have an impact on demand or supply. So if one of those factors change, how much demand will change. That's the basic idea, and that's the definition of elasticity. So that's the end of first part. That this was just an introductory lecture, just an introduction to elasticity. If you have any question, post it in the comment section. I will answer them definitely. See you in the next part.